I mean, I feel like I would rather play against Forest than D-Shift any day of the week.
Agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, talk to us about the mulligans in this match here. We've got Runecraft versus Dragoncraft to kick things off. D-Shift versus Ramp. How's it gonna play out here?
This is rough. So historically, D-Shift is almost always had the advantage against Ramp Dragon. And it really comes down to how well Hacterox is able to ramp early and how well he's going to be able to just start jamming Storm followers. Otherwise, I don't know how he's going to win this matchup. So it's going to be rough.
It comes down to what we talked about before. It's early ramp coupled with Fortes and or Fortes with Erd and or getting that Queen of the Dreadsea combo with Ariat and Genesis Dragon and all that fast enough. We've seen in the past that if you get a perfect draw, you can do that combo immediately and just close the game out. It is possible. But if you don't get that immediacy, that proactive game going fast enough, D-Shift's going to have plenty of time against Ramp Dragon to do whatever it wants to do.
Right. Well, we do see that Hacterox has an Ayala. We also see that he has a Forte and he has a Erd in hand. So if he's able to ramp fast enough, he'll be able to do he'll be able to get that damage in. That's for sure.
That's right. Here's a funny thing too. All of our D-Shift players, I feel like, have been playing against the ropes the entire time. None of our D-Shift players have been able to actually get D-Shift in their openers.
Nope.
And this happened yesterday. This has been happening. I don't know what's going on with D-Shift right now, but it doesn't happen often to where you can't get it within your first 4 or 5 turns, but we're seeing it on repeat.
Yeah. And to make it worse, we're also seeing that in those cases, the times that we saw today, D-Shift won.
That's true. That's true. It's even winning without it. That's the difference. Like, OTK Roach needs its combo to win. It's the only way to finish the game out. You can try to win with board value, but it's going to be very hard. That's not to say that the combo is any less good or potent than D-Shift. It's just different, right? Like, D-Shift, you can actually use as a card to develop turn after turn, like we saw on the last time we saw D-Shift win, where it just puts you ahead and doesn't actually win the game. You can't really do that with OTK Roach.
Well, Piao is in a little trouble here. Yeah, he's doing the prayer.
Yep.
He's in a little trouble here. He can play Owl Evo, but he won't even be able to trade into the Rob, which feels pretty bad.
He does have a magic missile to help with that though, so that might be the play this turn. I don't really see a better line of play. I guess you do want to try to get that kaleidoscopic glow on the Staircase to Paradise before it pops. So it's also a consideration, but I think you can wait one more turn on that.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, can you really afford to focus on that right now? Given what your hand looks like? Like, and still no D-Shift in sight. This is how Dragon can win the matchup. Opponent never draws D-Shift.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Opponent never draws it. Oh, man. Okay.
And Piao correctly identifying that there's not really a way for Hacterox to actively pop this without giving up board advantage. So I really like this, and this could give Piao the chance he needs to glow that Staircase before it matters.
Well, then this is kind of where you... Oh, boy. So, if you're Hacterox... Okay, see, what I was going to ask is, if you're Hacterox, do you do the trade so that you can get the value on the Staircase to not give your opponent the glow?
I would have at least considered it. it.
Yeah, he didn't consider it. He just said, you know what, man? Your face, bro.
Don't care.
Face jam.
To be fair, he's gonna have time in order just to pop it. Like, he's gonna save this Forte combo for turn 10 with Erd. That's
He'll be able to play it next turn. Yeah.
And then he can pop Staircase to refuel. Bahamut's might come down, but I doubt it. Bahamuts aren't really the scariest thing for D-Shift because they have cards like Fiery Embrace to deal with it. So you just want to find your Storm followers.
Well, apparently Piao's just playing a control deck because
hard control.
Because he's not getting no win condition. So he said, you know what, man? We're jamming all of it.
I love this line. This is, again, where you have to realize, okay, I'm playing against a deck. I don't have my D-Shift endgame. How do I win this game? I tempo Dragon on turn 9 right before Bahamut can come down, and I try to just snipe a win.
Yeah, this also makes playing Staircase this turn really crappy.
Right.
So I like that a lot. I like this one.
I don't like the pre-Evo from Piao. I don't like that, but I still think this puts him in a really good position.
Yeah, a little premature.
Now he can put his opponent down to 6, and he doesn't really need that much of an endgame to win. He just has to outlast now.
Well, we can see the Bahamut getting jammed next turn for sure, but of course, as we know, it's gonna meet a fiery end, and couldn't help it. It was there. Anyway.
He can also set up a bunch of wards this turn as well. That Fire Embrace is sitting at 0 if I'm not mistaken, so he can activate the full amount of golems here to set up for following turns, because I'm assuming he knows that Bahamut's going to come down. So you pair another Fiery Embrace with a bunch of wards. You protect yourself against any other storm damage, any other combos, while also presenting lethal. I think Piao's in a really good spot here. Yeah.
So again, unfortunately, it seems like D-Shift is just doing really well. I mean, maybe not unfortunately. Maybe that wasn't the right word, but it's well, unfortunately for Hacterox anyway.
Right.
It's looking pretty bad right now, for sure.
You know what's scary is when you get to like a really low life total and you're just like, can they just like magic missile me out of the game and like do some random stuff to finish me off? I don't like this.
Are they gonna Blade Mage me out of nowhere? Is that gonna happen? I mean, not that it would. I mean, we know that he's not running Blade Mages, but still.
Right. Now this is the one time that Piao is gonna have to sweat it. He's gonna have to make a choice if he wants to Fiery Embrace this or not. And then if he does, he's not gonna have a Fiery Embrace left over for the second Bahamut. So I think he's got to really measure how effective he thinks this Bahamut's going to be at actually attacking the face, and that's what he's sweating about right now.
Well, that would require him to, anticipate that his opponent has another Bahamut?
Well, what do you anticipate here? So what is a realistic way that Dragon can deal with 3/3/3 followers, all with ward on the same turn?
Well, they certainly wouldn't be able to. I mean, Breath of the Salamander wouldn't do it. Like it would, like 3/3/3 followers. No way. Breath of the Salamander just wouldn't do that.
Right. But I like this tempered approach because this means he has wards left over for the next Bahamut, which is really nice.
Yes. Hacterox does still have an Evo remaining, so he will be able to push past it then. Let's see, what is that D-Shift at?
I think it just got to 10, so it's still a turn away from being able to do anything realistic here.
Mm-hmm. Piao digging.
He's digging. I think he unfortunately has to get rid of one of these Conjure Guardians. I don't think he can allow Bahamut to just attack face for free.
I think he has to play both of them, because if he doesn't play both of them, wouldn't he just die to Forte ramming into the ward and then Evo Bahamut?
That's true.
Pretty sure. That's pretty sure. He would have to play both.
Yep. That's true. Queen of the Dreadsea can also put on this little back and forth where he gains some life with Fervor and plays another threat if he draws one, or he can play the Staircase alongside of Forte and just get rid of the Fervor. I mean, he's got a lot of different options he can with just 4 cards in his hand.
Oh, he played both of them. Okay. All right. So, well, the problem is that
Fervor here. Ooh. Okay, so he's gonna go with the first
keeping the
option.
Forte. Okay. Okay. So he can
My
Forte.
My thought is if I top deck with a Fervor into a Breath of the Salamander, I just win the game immediately, right?
Right.
So.
Unfortunate soul.
Or no, maybe not, actually, because one Breath of the Salamander, you didn't have another follower to play to evolve because Forte would cost too much, so.
Well, he certainly isn't sitting on a way of winning right now. And by that, I mean Piao. Like, there's another D-shift in him, but that's way too far away.
And that Giant Chimera was just freshly drawn, so that's not going to be able to get past 17 defense in play right now.
No, it definitely is not. It's not happening. And that isn't... I mean, he can D-shift, though. Yeah, he can definitely play his the other D-shift. What is that? At should be at, what, 3 now? Yeah. So he can play that.
Doing what D-shift does. Hope and pray. Let's go top of deck.
That's not a card you want.
It can kill the Forte, but doesn't have an immediate answer to Bahamut.
Well, it would have to kill the Bahamut. The Giant Chimera would have to kill the Bahamut first before it killed the Forte. It goes in order.
Well, I'm saying with Wind Blast, you can kill the Forte, but then you can't even play the Chimera. So
yeah.
Yeah, this is rough. I don't think Chimera is big enough to take out the Bahamut, and that's what he needs to do.
Yep. Hacterox is literally sitting on the edge of his seat.
Right, please don't kill me.
This, like I said before, this is generally a bad matchup. Like, but as we saw, Piao just didn't get the pieces he needed earlier enough.
Yep. It's crazy sometimes. I mean, D-Shift can always win. You know what I mean? It can always find a way. But when you don't draw D-Shifts or Giant Chimera until very late in the game, it's just one of those decks. I mean, it's a combo deck, right? If you don't assemble your combo fast enough, you can lose. And we've been seeing it falter a lot today, but this is the first time I think we're actually going to see it lose.
Yeah. I literally cannot see a way. And I'm not like the most proficient D-shift player, but I don't see a way that he's winning this game right now. I just don't. No, maybe you see one. I don't see one.
Now, technically speaking, he could have drawn into another Golem Assault and then played all 3 Golems to survive another turn to try to help build for things. Ooh.
He did a fist pump, man. He did a fist pump.
New life he was just given.
Yeah, he just felt like, you know, before he felt like his heart was sinking into his gut, and then it just jumped out of his gut.
Oh my goodness.
What is this? What is this?
This is craziness we haven't seen out of D-Shift with the telescope. I like this. This is doing some stuff that you can't normally do. I like it. And he did exactly what I said, and he drew into that Golem Assault, and he can play all of them.
Wow. Yeah, because the sigil just popped, so they all cost 1, and he has 3 play points remaining.
And the Chimera will also be able to be cast to take out a Forte.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Wow. Wow. And the Wind Blast taking it out. He could take out the...
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I bet that felt amazing. Ooh, well, uh-oh. What's he drawing? What is it?
Nope.
Oh, no, that's not what you want. That's not it. No, that's not it. That's not it. And Piao,
never mind.
somehow.
D-Shift ekes it out again anyway.
Again! I just finished saying I don't see how he wins. And he wins! Oh, man. I think he just... Piao just, like... So
I think you broke the game.
I don't blame him.
Telescope into Insight, into Telescope, into Golem Assault, into just barely eking this game out.
And then he finished him with the Chimera. And that was crazy! Just finished saying,
what did I say before this match?
Oh my god, man.
What did I say before this match?
You know...
Ban D-Shift.
Yeah.
Okay? Just ban it.
Is showing up. Okay? It's showing up. It's showing up.
Look at the smile on Piao's face. He earned that smile. That was a hard-fought win.
He that win. Like that, he played his heart out, okay? Played it out. Like, so many times you could see all these different expressions on his face that, you know, he lost his he lost love and Then he came back and then, you know, he drew a telescope and he saw into the future and then he won. You know, like, it's amazing.
That specifically highlights exactly what I was talking about before to playing to your outs. So Piao raised his fist as soon as he saw that insight drawn because he knew he needed to draw either that or Angelic Snipe in order to get the exact amount of spell boost he needed to continue on with what he was doing. And the insight drawing into another telescope into the Golem Assault allowed him to just do things that we haven't been able to see other D-Shift decks do. And I think that was incredible.
Yeah. I don't ever remember seeing Telescope in a D-Shift deck, much less, see it do what it just did. I mean, it pulled him out of the darkness into the light.
The actual darkness.
Yeah, he was looking into the abyss, but then he saw the light, at the end of the tunnel. Like, that was incredible. Good job, Piao.
Now, one thing I will say about Hacterox, now that the D-Shift match is over, if Hacterox can manage to win the mirror matchup, okay? And I say mirror matchup loosely because Piao's not necessarily playing exactly a mirror. But if Hacterox can win this matchup, then Dragon has a really good shot at beating Dragon. So if Hacterox can win, he, I think, will gain the edge back in the final game.
I find it a little interesting about choosing to play Ramp Dragon against, pre-draft Ramp Dragon first in the D-Shift. I mean, of course, you don't know what your opponent's going to pick as first deck, but I find that a little interesting. What do you think of that?
I agree with you. I think it's an interesting choice. I think you're hoping that you get those fortes. You know that you can beat D-Shift. But it's an uphill battle. I think Mid-Shadow's a little bit easier to get the damage, especially when you're playing a Cerberus version, right? So I probably would have opted for the more aggressive line. But it's just preference. I mean, if Hacterox has played against D-Shift a bunch, I'm sure we all have by now if you play on the ladder, he just feels more comfortable with his Dragonless, and that's all.
Well, one of the difference makers right now that we're about to see is CEST in this particular matchup, because Hacterox does not have one in his hand. So, CEST is a beast. Like,
yes, it is, and cannot be dealt with in a realistic way. Has to stall on the Cerberus, which you never really like to do. I mean, it's fine to play on 6 because you get the extra play point to use, either Mimi, Coco, whatever you want to use. But it's just slowing you down when you're on the play. So now Piao actually gets to get ahead on the board here.
Well, now, Hacterox does get ability to play Death's Breath next turn should he want it. And he could also opt to clear board with, say, his Phantom Howl if that's what he wanted to do too. But I actually kind of like the Death's Breath play.
Yeah, I like that this turn as well. This really sets up a hard board to deal with, and this will actually push it the turn before an Ektar can come out. So if he can clear board before Ektar, I mean, that's exactly what you want to be doing, especially in the mirror.
Yeah, Ektar in the mirror is just,
That's the lights out card.
Ektar,
that's the card that you need to be worried about at all times.
Yeah. I mean, now, okay. So would you not be more worried about Immortal Thane than Ektar?
I mean, they're both really good, right? They both provide boards. It's just if you're behind, Thane feels okay. If you're even with your opponent, Thane feels great. If you're ahead, Thane feels amazing. But if you're behind, ahead, or middling, Ektar is always good. So it's at this point, Hacterox has board position. I'm not as afraid of Thane because I can deal with it at this point. But if I get behind and Thane gets played, then I'm super scared because then Ektar after the Thane is, again, lights out. So the ebb and flow of Mid-Shadow is crazy. It's constant board clears. It's constant trying to poke your opponent a little bit every time that you can just so that you can finish out with some sort of a big haymaker late in the game.
I always thought of Immortal Thane as kind of like a mirror breaker in a way. Land the first Thane, trades feel awful. Like when you're playing against Mid-Shadow. I mean, I could be
trades
mistaken,
definitely don't feel good.
Well, that's an Ektar.
I think this is Ektar. I already have Phantom Howl in hand. Ektar will push 5, 11, 13 damage. Put your opponent to 7. Even if my opponent wipes the board, I win with Phantom Howl. I'm in right now.
Let's hope he sees that. He's thinking. He's thinking. And get your calculator out, buddy.
That's right. Calculator out. How do I win in 2 turns? Ah, yes.
I mean, if you need... Oh, he played serve instead. That's interesting.
The biggest reason I would have thought about the 2-turn lethal there is specifically because it's coming up to turn 7. This is the turn that you cannot play Thane and Soul Converted on the same turn. So if I push for the 2-turn here, my opponent really doesn't have a way to deal with this unless they have a Blade Fiend, which it's shown that he doesn't yet. He would have played it by now if he had it. So
right.
This is not a bad line of play. I mean, clearing the entire board while presenting a board is never bad, but I feel like taking the 2-turn win instead of dragging the game out would have done him a world of difference here.
I think Phantom Howl in Hacterox's list is a little bit harder to read if he has it, just because it is, a mid-shadow list. I mean, again, we haven't seen Cerberus in a long time in mid-shadow. And I mean, we know that they have access to seeing the deck lists, but we haven't seen it in a really long time. So because of that, I would have a harder time reading a Phantom Howl, and I think he's only run 1 Phantom Howl. So it's kind of like, okay, well, does he have the Phantom Howl? Does he not have the Phantom Howl? That type of mind game, I think, does come into play.
Well, here's the thing also. Now that he didn't do that, he actually lost the opportunity to get that huge chip damage in with that Ektar. So now Phantom Howl is off the table for being lethal anytime soon. So I feel like Hacterox had the win over 2 turns, guaranteed. Like, looking at the hands, it would have been a win. The end. No way around it. But now... he's playing this. Oh, actually, Piao didn't evolve here to clear out more damage. So now, actually, Hacterox has a chance to do the same thing again.
Yeah. So let's see if he actually takes it this time.
Okay.
Okay. He's doing it this time. He's like, okay, you know what, man?
Don't clear, Hacterox. Please don't clear. You have the win. This is why you play Phantom Howl.
Oh, I think he's going face.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
He's going. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's a 8-3 Bellinus, bro.
That is huge.
That's a big boy. That's a big
and
boy,
honestly
right?
Speaking, Piao knows that there's still a Mimi in hand, right? So he has to clear every single threat for the rest of the game. Otherwise, he's just gonna die to it. And of course, we know Phantom Howl stops that plan. It says you can't actually clear my board because I have a Storm Follower. The end.
Phantom Howl about to show its value, coming back. Oh man, I used to.
I'm gonna keep pressing it every single week to people. Phantom Howl's legit. Phantom Howl's really good.
How are you gonna feel when Phantom Howl gets rotated?
I'm gonna be sad, man. I'm gonna be really sad.
I like how your tone of voice changed there. You're like, no, Phantom Howl's really good. I'm gonna be really sad.
I'm gonna be really sad when it's gone. I don't think it saw enough light of day while it was in. I think it definitely took over a format, and I find it weird. It took over a format, and people just forgot about it, right?
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, he's gonna clear the board, but lights out, buddy.
That's right.
They should have paid your electric bill. Should have paid your electric bill. It's over.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. I like that.
There's that Phantom Howl. Easiest Phantom Howl in the world. Yeah. Right there. Hacterox paid
on the board.
Yeah. There is nothing worse than when someone plays a Phantom Howl and you just hear them say, "I'm coming for you," like 5 times.
Right.
There's no worse
feeling for you. That was really creepy, but that's what it is, okay? That's exactly what it sounds like.
It's just like, I lost. You just know you lost.
Yeah, as soon as you hear that, that's the feeling Phantom Howl should give to people. As soon as you hear that first line come out, you're just like, oh no. Oh no, because that's how it's always felt before. It's like, do they have the Phantom Howl or not? Of course they do. And you're dead.
It's turn 6. They have Phantom Howl? Uh-huh. Oh man.
Yep. Oh man.
I'm for you. Like, oh boy.
So now we're in the position where I said we would be. Hacterox got that win. I think he now has the advantage over Piao because he's playing classic Ramp Dragon against new Mid Shadow. Now, new Mid Shadow has a lot of tools, I'm not going to lie, If Piao has the chops, and I've been using that word a lot, but it's really necessary for today because I feel like players have to play their butts off today because of the competition.
Right.
If Piao knows how to late game against Dragon with his Shadow deck, he can come out on top. But it's a struggle.
Well, Hacterox is missing the almighty turn 2 ramp. So
the almighty, yes, absolutely.
I mean, seriously, don't you just expect when you're facing against Dragon that they're gonna have Dragon Oracle? Like, don't you just
when
expect
I
that?
play Dragon, I always have Dragon Oracle. So I
Right.
know exactly what it feels like when I see players that don't have it. I feel for them. It feels bad. Yeah. But I feel like actually this game, having the Breath of the Salamander into Ayala is actually a little bit better because there's nothing really to ramp into in hand. So. Well, I take that back. Rahab, pretty good card to ramp into. Never mind.
Is it really that good against Shadow?
It is if they don't have Lurching Corpse.
Which, well, he doesn't currently, so I suppose.
Right. Would have been a really good ramp target here, but also just great on turn 4. It's not going to lose any value here.
Yeah. So Piao playing 2 Pot of Greeds, and
drawing a bunch of cards.
Drawing tons of cards. Yeah. This Rahab actually ends up, being okay.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, Saris will have to full trade into this and take some damage on the kickback, so it's not the worst ever. Plus, the Evo can't go face, which is always what you want to see when you're the Dragon player. And Sybil's going to be able to activate with ramp and heal next turn with that Ayala dying. So,
well, I would imagine that. I'd imagine that right now, Piao's just jamming face.
Yep.
Jam face, man.
Just doing what you got to do. Jam face, get that value, bust through wards, keep filling the board. All these 1-drops are coming in super handy, by the way. This is so much extra value that you wouldn't always normally have in this spot.
I just want to point out one obvious thing. 1-drops are good.
Yeah, 1-drops are pretty good. They feel kind of stinky when they're the last cards you draw. But filling in those gaps in your play points when you need to make a specific play can really do wonders for winning a game. Like this turn, imagine if both of those cards were wrapped up into a single 2/2. Now, there are multiple threats that have to be dealt with over turns as opposed to just one. Plus, they generate more shadows. They pose bigger threat with Ektar while that's involved. So, I mean, like, they just do a whole lot of things that a single card outside of just having multiple 1-drops could do.
Look at how many cards Piao has left in his deck. He's got 23 cards. And Hacterox is sitting on 31. You know how many cards he's drawn this game, man? Like,
he's drawn a lot of cards.
Too many Pot of Greeds, man. Too many cards. And he's stocking up. He's like, I want as many Thanes, as many Ektars. You know what? I think Piao knows exactly what he's doing. He's giving up very small incremental board advantage to gain card quantity. And I think that's awesome against Dragon. Because Dragon only has so many plays that you need to be worried about, right? They have their Bahamut's, and they have their combo turns. As long as you can kind of meet your way around those, you're good. Okay, pause. Why would you Evo Sybil?
Because you know your opponent doesn't have Soul Squasher.
You know they don't have it.
You know it.
I mean,
you 100% know it.
Is that the only reason? Because
I think no. The reason why you do it is because of Ektar damage. You're going into turn 7, clearing out board is nice. I probably would have evoed the Summoner and not the Sybil, just to make sure that it can't die to Soul Squasher.
That's what I'm at. That's exactly what I was asking. Like, why would you evolve Sybil here?
Yeah, but if you know your opponent doesn't have Soul Squasher, sweet. Actually, you know what? To be fair, I think evoing Dragon Summoner is just better overall anyway, because now Piao can play a card and evo directly into the Sybil and get rid of all that evo value with one card when Sybil's the main target anyway. You'd have to evo it, and then you'd still have a 2 left over, as opposed to a 1/2. So
exactly. So just a little puzzled by the evo, but I don't know. Okay.
These are small things that everyone should take note of. Just think about what happens when you evo the Sybil here versus the Dragon Summoner and how it plays out. I think it gives more advantage to Piao than to Hacterox by doing this specific evo.
See, I like this. This says have Breath of the Salamander. Ooh.
That line of play is interesting. Not dealing with the Sybil immediately means he doesn't care about the extra heal.
But
I don't know if I like that one either. I don't know if I like that.
I mean that's a little questionable.
This in my mind is saying if you have Breath of the Salamander, I lose the game. And fortunately, Hacterox doesn't have Breath of the Salamander. But
he's calling his bluff. That's what this is.
This is what's happening. I think both players are calling each other's bluffs, right? Hacterox like, you don't have this. Piao's like, I know you don't have a Breath of the Salamander. I'm good here.
Hey, Piao had a lot of different plays. That's the one he went with. Very interesting.
Not gonna lie, very interesting. Yeah.
That's it. That's right there. Very interesting. That's when you like nod your head and as you're saying it.
Yep.
All right, so clearing out these things. Ah, man. This is where I think it feels really bad for Dragon. When you're stuck just trading all the time, and you're not even getting in just a little bit of damage while they can keep presenting.
I don't think you have to full trade like that. I think Sybil could have gone face there to get your opponent down to 14 because you're going into a turn where you just popped your staircase. You're planning on drawing into your combo. If you don't have any damage dealt, you can't outright win with your combo. If you got your opponent to 14, that's immediate combo with Genesis Dragon and Erd and Queen of the Dread Sea, right? Or Ariat, whatever you want to play. So you got to think about these. Like, this is exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the day. You have to think about how you can win, not just how to stop your opponent from winning.
Right.
Dance, dear bones of white.
So I would have seriously considered going face with the Sybil, but that's just me.
I think it was a must, actually. I think he's now in a position where I don't know if he can win anymore unless he gets lucky.
Well,
whereas he could have just outright won the game this turn.
He would have to get really lucky, and that ain't it. I mean, he got the breath, I guess. That's fine. Yeah, the breath is fine, but still feels kind of. I mean, he can. Wait, let's see. He can play breath, and he can play the Rahab, or he could play the Dragoon Scyther.
Fine.
He could at least go face with the Dragoon Scyther if he wanted.
Well, let's count damage, right? We've got 3, 4, 5 plus 8. We've got 13 damage possible with Ektar. So yeah, I like Hacterox. I think he should have done this the last turn as well, because then he would have set up a lethal like guaranteed next turn, as opposed to maybe not. But now he's going into that plan. I need to win. I don't have time, and Ektar can't kill me this turn.
Hey. Very interesting. Like, I find it personally interesting to see that people are kind of going back to Storm Ramp, whereas like before it was like Ramp, everyone was playing Ramp with like Saha, Israfil, all that. They kind of just changed modes and just said, you know what, we're going to Storm Ramp instead.
You just can't anymore. It's the regular Ramp Dragon just doesn't win in any realistic time frame.
Well, especially not with, what's it called? D-Shift running around. Like, no way.
Right.
No way. Interesting. Okay. So this board can kind of get a little cleared up a bit with this Breath of the Salamander?
Yeah, Breath of the Salamander will do a lot of work this turn. Let's see what he draws, though. He might opt for a Bahamut play here, which I don't mind at all.
I would definitely jam Bahamut. I think I would 110% jam Bahamut. Because the Bahamut gets dealt with, and if Piao can't kill him, Hacterox win with Forte Erd.
Yep.
Yeah. Easy Bahamut. There it is. He's crossing his fingers, man.
You know what's crazy to me is that Ramp Dragon doesn't play Grimnir anymore. I think that's a little odd to me. I know that Scyther is amazing. Okay, don't get me wrong, but no Grimnirs anymore. Just a little bit. With all this mid range running around, maybe just one, maybe two.
Well, let's think about that. Before, back in the Dark Ages, which is what I'm gonna call it. Grimnir used to go face. So it made it a much more tempting thing to do because it made setting up Ramp Dragon's game plan to finish the game a lot easier. Now Grimnir is literally just a 10 play point board wipe that leaves back behind a 2-3. And when you think about all the different ways that tempo swings back, does Grimnir really seem like the card that you really want to be playing in Ramp Dragon?
I don't know. I like options. I'm an options player. I like to have everything at my disposal. But speaking of that, we saw Hacterox crossing his fingers harder than I think I've ever seen anyone cross their fingers before, in hopes that he's either A, not dead this turn, or B, there's no wards.
Yeah, and there it is. The celebratory, he's like, yes!
Got it in the bag.
Yep, there it is. And Forte Erd is going to clear this up. Man, Hacterox
So
hanging. Oh man, he looked like he had a heart attack.
Got there.
He looked like he was about to have a heart attack, man.
Yep.
Wrap it up. And
knows
Piao with the look of defeat, because that's exactly what happened.
Destiny calls.
Don't misclick,
Making
man.
sure he doesn't misclick. Yep.
Don't misclick, man.
And Hacterox finally showing up. I love it. Hacterox, get on the board.
Good job, man.
Hacterox takes the win, meaning Piao drops a match here and couldn't quite make it work after what was quite possibly the craziest dimension shift game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Hacterox kept it together and made it work. I don't know. These games today are insane. I mean, we've seen some incredible lines of play today.
This was great play today. Great play.
I